Okay. I'm super excited to film this video. I've wanted to film it for so long because I think it's such an interesting topic. I don't really see content focused on this certain topic. So I've grown up in Utah my whole life and I am not Mormon. I don't really have any religious background, to be honest with you. I have small knowledge on certain religions, but I will say I don't know an advanced amount of knowledge on Mormonism. Just this is my perspective on what Mormonism is, and also just what my upbringing was like as a non-Mormon in Utah, because it is known for its religion. So I thought, let's talk about it. I think it's gonna be super cool because I had a different experience growing up in Utah, not being a Mormon. So growing up, my mom, she was raised Mormon, but she does not go to church anymore, and my dad is like, yeah, he had no religion growing up. So my dad, to give you like an idea, my dad is like Adam Sandler. I'm not saying Adam Sandler doesn't have a religious background, but he's got that personality and that unfiltered humor. And my mom is like this sweet, delicate angel. So my parents didn't really ever talk to us about like religion, which I'm really grateful for, because I really admire how my parents raised me and my brother. I really do. They never shoved anything down our throat or forced us to be a certain way. They were very, very open to our opinions and stuff. So I really liked that. I would attend like primary school with my cousins as a kid, but it was to hang out with my cousins. I didn't understand like that I was there for church, you know? Like I remember eating the bread and water at like whenever I would randomly hang out with my cousins, it would be at church, but I wasn't learning about church. I was just hanging with my cousins. So I started noticing that my family was different. I would say like elementary school, just certain girls couldn't have sleepovers, couldn't hang out on Sundays, stuff like that. And I was like, weird, I can hang out on Sundays, like what? Why can't you? So like elementary, when you want to have sleepovers. So that's when I was like putting it together, like there's something going on that's different than my family. I guess I thought Mormonism was just like, you can't hang out on Sundays. Like Sunday is just, you're not allowed to leave your house on Sunday. That's what I thought of it as a kid. And then I finally understood it, you know, as I got older, like in middle school. The questions that would come up for me as a kid was like, why can't you have coffee? Why are tattoos bad? Why can't you wear tank tops? Why can't you have a sleepover on Sunday? Those were my questions as a kid, because honestly, all my friends were Mormon growing up as a kid. Everyone attended church, and I didn't. I never wished I was Mormon to fit in. That's something I really admire my younger self, because I was so stern. I was so firm on the fact that I wanted to be unique, so I honestly really liked it. I was like, I'm unique, whatever, I think differently. As a little 8-year-old girl, I just admired I was different. That's, to be honest with you. So I never wished that I was Mormon. I never was like, oh, I need to go because everyone's going. So school for me, elementary school, socially, everything was fine. I didn't really come across anything. I didn't feel too different from my friends, other than Sundays were off limits. So friendships in elementary school was fine. I would say middle school, high school is when I started noticing cliques of like the Mormons versus the non-Mormons. This is just my experience, but honestly, the perfect word is judgment. Like, oh, she's not Mormon, like I don't want to hang out with her. I did feel like there were certain groups that would judge you based off if you were Mormon. Like, I have a nose ring, and my ears are pierced, like I have multiple piercings in my ears, and I would wear different shirts, and I felt that judgment from certain groups of girls. Like if anyone from Utah is a non-Mormon and you're a female, I wonder if you relate the same. But there's like that energy you get from certain people, like they just cancel you out pretty much. Middle school, I was really close with somebody, and slowly we stopped hanging out, and I realized it was because I wasn't Mormon. Like they found out I wasn't Mormon, so we were no longer friends, you know? Stuff like that was very common for me growing up. But it's really quite interesting because my lifelong friend is Mormon, and we've never had issues. So there are different types of Mormon people in Utah. And from my perspective, it's the Mormons that have open ears and open arms and accept everyone for everyone, which is what they preach. But then there's the Mormons that do judge you and cancel you out and exclude you, from my experience. So it's quite interesting. You meet the different types of people. Like my best friend, she would go to girls camp. I'm like, I wanted to go, but I wasn't allowed, you know? Like when I was a kid, I remember certain friends who were Mormon like would attend church activities and everything, but I wouldn't have interest because like it was learning about Mormonism. And to me, not, it doesn't need to be to you, I don't resonate with with certain values of the Mormon church. So I never wanted to go to those events because I didn't personally agree with everything. So I never thought about going, you know? So yeah, definitely moments where I felt left out and excluded, but I just moved on. I think my dad raised me in a way like don't let things bother you kind of mindset. Like my dad is a very much like F you if you don't like me type of guy. So as a little girl, that was kind of how I thought as well. So yeah, I never would take it personally when I was excluded. I was just like, whatever, they're not my people, which is quite cool for a young girl to think like that, now that I realize. Because I think it's common to feel sad from that, but I never felt that. So, and it's because I think my dad is this hard, tough dude, you know? So that's my thought. But my grandparents who are Mormon, I remember as a kid, like, them always saying, I wish you went to church, I wish you would do this, that, and I'm like, but I'm a good person, like, I'm not a bad person, and I just organically developed my own values and understanding of things that I feel like I personally resonate with and agree with, you know? I will say, I remember this moment where I went to a friend's house after school. The friend had to do their homework, they had to read 20 minutes, they had to do all their chores. I will say, I feel like the people who were Mormon growing up, like their families were very strict about them getting their homework done and like reading and doing all these chores, which I see like why that would be a good thing. But my family, like they were so chill. I wouldn't read 20 minutes and my mom would sign it. Sorry, exposing, but like, I don't know, my fam, like I was a good student, but I wasn't a straight A student. I got my work done, but I wasn't like, I have to do this now. I have to do my homework, I have to go to bed at this time, I have to get this done. I just was very like, I'll get it done, and as long as I meet the deadline, I'm good. But like, I feel like people who came from a Mormon family were very like school, like taking honors classes and had chores, had jobs too. Actually, that was one thing my mom did not want us to have, was a job in high school. She wanted us to enjoy our high school experience. But that's just my personal opinion that I noticed with people, like they were very strict with getting their schoolwork done and being part of teams and stuff like that, like social groups. I wasn't that. I was not that girl. Like, I'm not thinking I'm better than, but I feel like roles reversed. I felt that from certain groups in high school, is I'm better than you, you know? I feel like people assumed that I was just like this person who didn't have values, wasn't a good person based off of me not being a Mormon. But I was like, whatever, that's fine. You know, like, I'm 22 and I'm still not Mormon. I drink coffee, I have tattoos. I occasionally drink alcohol, but it's not, like I said, I'm really grateful how my parents raised me, because I wasn't a rebellious kid, because they didn't like contain me in this box. You know, I've had my experiences with certain drugs and stuff, but like, I'm a one and done girl. I mean, I've never done extreme drugs, but you know, like certain things, like I've tried to vape once before, smoked weed once, stuff like that. One and done, you know, but I have noticed people who are Mormon that have fallen out of the church go on the extreme path of certain things that really aren't great for you. So that's something that I have noticed. But I've came across really cool Mormons that are honestly in my friend group that are just very accepting and warm and friendly and have no judgment. So everyone who was Mormon like couldn't date till they were 16. So I told myself that also. That is actually a rule I did follow. I told myself I can't date until I'm 16. And my first boyfriend was when I was 16. So that did affect me, and I didn't date till I was 16 because I just thought, like, I'm not old enough. Nobody's dating when they're 13, 14, 15. So yeah, dating was different for me probably compared to like somewhere out of Utah. Dating was actually very tough for me. It was a very mental, hard thing for me to do. I was terrified of boys. But you know what? Them Mormon girlies are boy crazy. I think they're boy crazy because my perspective is like they just want to have a family, they get married young, they want kids, so like they're dating around a lot. I did not date around. In my life, I've had 2 boyfriends, and I'm 22, and I live with my boyfriend, and we're not married, and we don't want to have kids soon, and we don't want to be married anytime soon. So like dating is definitely different because I'm not trying to get married. If anything, I can see myself, I could see me not being married. Like, you know, it's not like embedded in my brain that I have to be married. Although if it happens, it happens. But you know what I mean? Like, I also am not like, I need children, I need to have babies. I'm not that way. Versus Mormons are very big on family, community, like social events, stuff like that. And I do like community, stuff like that, but I wasn't raised really to think like that. Does that make sense? And I mean, like having sex before marriage, you know, all this stuff. Dating was hard, but then once I started dating my current boyfriend, I had to unlearn like what I thought was right because of growing up in Utah with dating. I was just scared. I think the Mormonism made me confused with dating, to be honest with you, and like kissing and intimacy and stuff. You don't really hear about people who are not Mormon who turn into Mormon. Like, that's rare in Utah. It's usually the other way around. They're Mormon and then they fall out of the church. The conversations I had with faith and values it was strictly just, if you're a good person, that's all that matters. That's what I was raised upon. I was raised to be kind to everybody and be myself. That was the values my parents taught me and my brother. And like I said, I love it because I'm a very open-minded person. I enjoy learning and I don't judge people. I try not to. I'm not perfect, but that's how my brain works now to this day. And as I've gotten older, I've developed my own values that make sense to me. But those were like the main pillars my parents taught me and my brother. The group of girls I was with, I couldn't relate to on a deep level because they thought differently than me and they were Mormon. But like I never felt, this is like getting deep. I will say I have always felt like an outsider my whole life, but that's normal for me. that sounds so pick me, and I swear I'm not like that, but like I said, I enjoy going the path no one goes on. I never followed the crowd, but I liked it, so I wouldn't be sad that I felt out of place. Like the friends I would hang out with, they all had they were on the same dance team or cheer team, something, and I wasn't. So like they would always hang out with each other and I would do my own thing. But I was totally fine with that. That's like the one thing I can think of growing up, but I don't know. I feel the time I felt most accepted is right now in my 20s. After high school, being out of high school. A time that comes to my brain is me being a camp counselor. The group of people I was around were so accepting. I don't know if that's because they're like hippie people, like nature-y. I mean, I'm a hippie girl, so like I guess that's the time I felt super accepted. My boyfriend also, he had the same upbringing as me, so like we definitely relate on a deep level with that kind of stuff. I feel most accepted around creative, open-minded, free-spirited people for sure. I won't lie to you and say like I've never thought about joining a religion. There's hardships in life that happen that led me to praying to God, whatever you want to call it. I will say in times when I'm like needing some guidance, I will pray. I'll be like, please God, Buddha. Like I'll name like all of the like higher power role models, whatever you call them. So there have been moments where I have been curious. When my grandpa passed away, I would talk to up above a lot, but like it's not a consistent basis. Currently, as of right now and most of my life, I just trust the universe. No one asked, right? Nobody asked, but that's how my thought process works on it, and it provides me peace and comfort. The cultures are significantly different. Salt Lake City, you won't find many Mormons. Provo, Orem, Draper, that area, that's where most like Mormons are. There's BYU, that's a religious school. Salt Lake City, it's the city people, coffee shops every corner. I just moved to Salt Lake City. I haven't seen a church. I just realized. You'll see churches everywhere in Orem, Provo, like that side of town. Misconceptions is like the whole town is Mormon. That's not true. Salt Lake has so many people who aren't from Utah, which I really enjoy meeting people from around the world because I love hearing different perspectives and stuff. We do have accents, I guess. One of my best friends is from Florida, and she says that I sometimes have a Utah accent, and I absolutely hate it. We don't pronounce our T's. We say deal. We say dill, not deal. Skater outfits is a thing, I suppose. Like baggy clothing is a Utah thing, I guess. What else? I would say that those are a few things, but yeah, I'm actually curious what you guys think about Utah. What is your assumption about it? Yeah. Oh, influencers. I feel like now that I'm getting older, now that I'm in Salt Lake, I see that more, but I haven't. No, I guess it is true. Like, I've seen a few influencers out in the wild that I'm like, oh, wait, I've seen their videos. So there are a lot of influencers in Utah, for sure, like mom bloggers. Lonely Ghost, Indie Blue, the Salt Lake Wives, stuff like that. Would I want my future kids to grow up the same way? Yes, I would. How my parents raised me is how I would apply it to my children. Yes, because I just don't want to shove something down my kids' throat at such a young age when they don't understand anything. If they wanted to dabble into that, I wouldn't stop them, So my purpose of this video is, I guess, what I want people to understand from this video is just the different perspective of people who aren't Mormon. and that we're not bad people, and we're good people, and we do have values, you know? I just would hope that that's what you would get from this video. The Utah culture that I love is how, my friend says this, but we're grounded people because of the nature. There is a lot of events you can go to, and the mountains are gorgeous. I guess skiing is huge here. I've never gone skiing, but so just that there is probably a lot of activities to do. It keeps you active, I would say. My camera cut out, but that's the end of the video. It was just a little interesting topic. We'll see how this does. I'm very open-minded. I hope this didn't come off as judgmental or anything like that. It's just open for discussion, and I understand the risk of talking about something like this, but you know, I hope I didn't offend you, but if I did, I'm so sorry. But also, if you clicked on this video, you're probably open-minded, so I hope you enjoyed this conversation, and I'll see you guys next time.